doing it again. It's a really bad idea. No one's here to stop me. You know what? When it comes to singing intros in my videos, I feel like I have a few default tunes at this point. I mean, my neurodivergent default tune is Jingle Bells. I've had that one since I was like 6, so I'm quite good at repressing it. Well, that's a unique way to start the video. Jingle Bells and repression. Okay, well, with that, let's play SPOOKOPOLY. It's Leanne and welcome to another video. Or rather, welcome to my latest torture session TBR. Now usually when I say that I have a torture TBR coming up, it means that I've set myself some sort of wild and unattainable goal. That's not actually the case for this month. And it's not even the fault of SPOOKOPOLY, which I'll tell you more about in a little minute. Actually, really the reason that I feel like this is kind of a torture TBR situation this time around is because I haven't been reading my TBRs. For the last like 2 or 3 months, I think I have conservatively got to like half of my TBR. And don't get me wrong, up until I was sick last month, I was still reading a lot of books. It's just that projects were popping in here, there and everywhere. And overall, I think the last couple of months, I've just been super ambitious when it comes to what I want to try and read in a month. I mean, part of that is just mood reading. Part of that is just looking at the books that are in my house and being like But part of that I've realised is that in the latter half of this year, I have just started to give myself a little bit more freedom. So even though I'm setting myself TBRs with the full intention of actually reading the books that are on those TBRs, I am still allowing myself to go, I'm really pumped about that book, and just letting myself pick it up. Which is nice and all in theory, but you and I both know that that way leads to pure mood reading, which leads to me not reading. There's a reason that we have never abandoned TBRs on my channel for any length of time, and that is primarily because if I don't have a list and an order, my brain just goes Are you okay? Are you stuck? There you go. Now that the cat scratcher is here, I spend half of my time rescuing or interacting with cats. Are you okay? Anyway, the long and short of what I'm saying is that I'm struggling to find balance in my TBRs right now. And now I'm torn because October for me almost always means spooky books, right? You guys know that usually in October I revert to my haunted house reading roots. Me and the ghosties go on ghosty safari. And of course my entire body still wants to do that this month. But there's another entire part of me that's like, girl, maybe we do a little bit of that just to like satisfy the craving, but maybe we also try and finish off our TBRs from previous months. Especially that whole one that you didn't read because you were flat on your back thick. And quite honestly, even right now, sitting here, I don't know which one of those that I want to do. And to top it all off, we have the added complication that Becca just dropped a whole SPOOKOPOLY-thon on us with like 0 warning. We're going to be rolling gently for the SPOOKOPOLY board, and we're going to be talking about a bunch of other books that I would really like to get to in October. And then we're going to attempt to hold ourselves accountable. And by we, I mean you're going to hold me accountable because I suck at that. But before we get into the possible torture of it all, I would first like to thank the sponsors of today's video, Serious Readers. It is the Serious Readers season, my friends. The dark nights are drawing closer and closer. And while the aesthetic of fairy lights and candlelight and the fake Netflix fireplace are all very delicious, they are in fact also very bad for your eyes. There's a reason why the Victorians invented the entire profession of reading glasses, okay? A girl's in her mid-30s now, and gone are the days where she's like, haha, my eyeballs will bounce back from anything. Nowadays it's more like, how can I preserve the most amount of eyesight for the longest amount of time? And that is where Serious Readers comes in. Serious Readers' Serious Lights range uses daylight wavelength technology, which in very basic layman's terms means that the lights that they have developed are so close to the natural daylight spectrum that your eyeballs almost can't tell the difference. Which, skipping the science of eyeballs, mostly because it's gross, means that your eyes are straining less when focusing on little details. That makes the Serious Lights range absolutely perfect for your evening reading, or if you're in Scotland anytime after 2 p.m. And when I say it is perfect for you, I really do mean that, because the entire lamp is bendy and the beam itself shelf is adjustable in both brightness and range, which means that you're not going to be blasting everybody in your immediate vicinity with daylight, which means that if they want to live their Victorian fantasy of candlelight and whatever, they can do that in peace at the other end of the couch. So if you would like to get your sticky little hands on a serious light from serious readers, then you can use my code Leanne24 on the screen. Make sure you spell it right. And my link down below in the description to get £100 off of a light from this range, plus free UK delivery. Trust me, your eyes will thank you. Alright. Don't worry, I wouldn't actually do that. That's gross. Normally, as you will have seen from last month's TBR, when I am playing Bookopoly or Spookopoly, I set myself a minimum of 5 rolls. But just in case you haven't ever taken part in any of Becca's readathons or you're new to BookTube, when you roll a double on a Bookopoly or a Spookopoly board, it means that you add a roll. So while you may originally have been rolling for 5 books for your TBR, you may have got 2 doubles, which means you're up to 7. And those doubles can just keep rolling infinitely. Trust me, I've had bad experience with that. And as previously discussed, your gal's just not in a place to be able to do that right now. So instead what we're going to do is we're going to go with 3 rolls and cap that at 6 books. So in theory, if those 3 rolls ended up all being 3 doubles, then that's fine. But the Spookopoly board doesn't get to torture me past 6 books. And then of course, after those rolls, however the dice may fall, I do have another couple of books for book clubs and read-alongs that I'm going to want to tack onto the end. Let us begin. The Spookopoly board this time around looks like this. And I will of course leave all of the links, you know, down below in the description so you can get your own and listen to Becca's announcement video where she explains what all of the spaces do. As always, there are a few spaces on this board that I really don't want to land on. Like, aggressively do not want to land on. This time around, those are one of the staple spaces, Big Book, which is a book with more than 500 pages. You guessed it, really don't want to end up on the spoopy space because I don't really have many spoopy books. If I'm reading a spooky thing, I want the horror. And then finally, not because of my ongoing beef with Grady Hendrix and the fact that all of his books are essentially big catfishes, I don't really want to land on this space because this space is kind of like a sarcastic, fun, almost like funny slasher vibes, and A, I don't have a lot of that on my shelves, and B, who are we kidding, I'm a petty Pisces, it's a Grady Hendrix space, I don't want to land on it. Okay, I went on a search and I couldn't find any easily available dice in my house, so instead we have this pair of digital dice. Okay, let's do this. Our first roll is a 9. I have no idea where that takes me. Okay, I have the board on my phone, so let's count together. Starting, of course, on go, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That is a future book from the past, present, and future tarot layout. We all know that I'm a tarot girly, so I'm quite happy that I landed on that. And according to Becca's Spookopoly guide, a future book is a book that you've been saving for the future or for the right time, also known as a rainy day book. Universe, give me the strength this day to read a rainy day book. Oh, I wonder if I can get a rainy day book from my clear shelf of books. So one of the new squares on my bingo board from hell, because it does seem that my tradition here is that mid-year I do realise that a couple of squares on the board are squares that I'm just not interested in and I end up throwing them out the window. One of the new squares on my board is to clear an entire shelf. Read all of the books on a shelf that I haven't already got to, and the shelf that I ended up picking was on my fantasy shelf, and it consists mostly of hardbacks from the last 1 or 2 years that I just haven't got to yet. And one of the books on that shelf that I 100% have been keeping as a rainy day read is Little Thieves by Margaret Owens. Little Thieves is essentially a forced Prince and the Pauper retelling. Princess Giselle's servant Vanya decides that she really wants Princess Giselle's life for herself, and she uses an enchanted string of pearls to make that happen. But Vanya's grift isn't actually over, because now that she is ensconced in Giselle's life, she is living life slowly, relieving all of the nobility around her of their fortunes, until one day a heist goes wrong and she is cursed, leaving her 2 weeks to save her own life. But in doing so, she's going to have to find Giselle first and convince her to help her. This one is one of the very few YA fantasies that still exist on my shelf that I'm still really excited for. I feel like that list has narrowed less and less every year until I'm pretty sure that we're at least under 10 books that fit in that category now. It's been a long time since I fell in love with a YA series, so cross fingers for me. Alright, I feel like the Spookopoly board was probably a little kind to us with that first roll, so let's see what the second roll is. A 4! I like how I said that all fun and confidently, knowing absolutely not where that was going to take us. Alright, so we were on the future square and 4 takes us 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, we've landed on Jason. How lovely, except for the fact that I now have to go count the letters on the spine of books. Because the prompt for Jason is Escape Camp Crystal Lake Alive. Read a book with 13 letters in the title. As somebody who loves maths as much as I do, that's just so much fun. I wonder how long the time lapse of me running about trying to do this was. Do you know what? We'll spare everybody that and I'll come back when I've found one, yeah? Okay. That took a significant amount of counting and I almost gave up. We almost had to re-roll and add a book. So I just and no more managed to find Floating Hotel by Grace Curtis. Yes. That's like the third time I've recounted the letters. This one does count. Now I don't remember, in all honesty, whether I put Floating Hotel on a TBR or if the reason that I have remembered mentioning it to you guys is because it was in my last haul and I did say that I needed to read it really soon before it ended up becoming a rainy day book for me. Floating Hotel kind of does what it says on the tin. It is a sci-fi book about a massive hotel which is floating, I think, around the Milky Way, and on its way is obviously picking up passengers, and just like a luxury cruise liner, people are enjoying the actual journey of staying on board, getting to their next stop, and of course there are some residents who just live on the hotel permanently. We follow the manager of this hotel who themselves were a stowaway years and years ago and were hired and have worked their way up the chain. The hotel is a home to them, but it is so much more. I'm getting vibes of like Lorelai and Stars Hollow and Gilmore Girls, where like the hotel became more than just a place to work. But in this case, many mysterious passengers turn up to the hotel all at the same time. While it might be a big luxury floating hotel, it is still a vessel flying through space, and things going wrong aren't necessarily the vibes that you want. Now, my concern about this one when I picked it up was that it was going to end up being cozy fantasy, because it does say that in a few places on the blurb, but I have been told by my patrons that that is not the case. It is not actually cozy, it's just not, you know, explosions. So I'm not entirely upset that this is book 2 in my rolls. Alright, so hopefully this next roll is the third and final roll, but I guess we're about to find out. Let's roll those dice. Hey, no doubles for me. We have got a 7, and a 7 takes us to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh no. A feed scroll. I don't want to do a feed scroll. Feed scrolls never work out well for me. Okay, let's open Goodreads. I think that is the safest place to do a feed scroll. Here we are. The top 2 books are books that I do not have, so let's have a look. We've read Magnolia Parts. I don't have The Trouble with Liking, although I do love John Wyndham. I do not have We Solve Murders, which is a thing we'll talk about in my tops and bottoms. I have this one, that's manga, or these ones. Ooh, I've read The Kaiju Preservation Society, as you saw, I loved it. Oh, there's a Kirsty. Oh, so far we're doing not too badly. More Kirsty. Clearly she's updating all of the romances that she's read in the last 800 days. Oh, we could be here for a while, guys. I am seeing nothing, like nothing that I have. There's a horror book, but I don't own it, sadly. I've read Your Guide to Not Getting Murdered in a Quaint English Village. I don't know why that isn't added to my Goodreads. It's not an unknown author Goodreads. It is actually Maureen Johnson. Excuse you. Damn. All of Kirsty's updates. She's gonna love this. Oh my goodnesses. Oh, okay. We did say Maureen Johnson, didn't we? And Death at Morning House is in fact winging its way to me as we speak. So I guess this is the one that we are going to be reading. Am I sad about it? Not really. This was in fact in my most anticipated books for the last half of this year video. Essentially, this one is about Marlo. She takes on a house sitting and a babysitting gig for some neighbours, and while she's in the house burns down. She unfortunately gets the blame for this. Her girlfriend completely distances from her, and she has absolutely no other opportunities in her small town to get a summer job because now nobody wants to hire the potential arsonist. So she has to go off the mainland and to a little island where Morning House exists. Morning House is a Victorian museum. It has been completely preserved, and she takes a job there as a docent, taking people round and telling them about the house until bodies start to turn up, which is really unfortunate for her because obviously she was suspected of the last lot of bad things that went on. I absolutely adore her writing, and in fact the Truly Devious series is one of those series that I really need to finish and get off my series tracker. So there's a little part of me that's just like, do we make October a Maureen Johnson month? Do we read Morning House, but then do we also just go back and finish all of the other books? Okay, so potentially watch this space because that was a thing that I didn't expect to happen. So either way, those are all of the books that I am going to be reading for the Spookopolython. I will be running some public sprints for Spookopolython for Becca in the coming weeks, so keep your eye out on my channel for when those are announced. But now that the hilarity of the Spookopoly board is over, it's time to get back to all of the other books that I need to read this month. Okay, so first up, we know for a fact that I needed to finish the books that I bought at Becca's and also bring you episode 2 of the 60% Diaries, as we also know that some of the other books that I need to work on this month are the books that I bought at Rare, because as per the rules of my 60% Diaries, if I buy books knowingly during the filming of one of those episodes, I have to read those books in that episode. This was a bit of a weird circumstance because I got sick in the middle of filming the vlog and it would just be too long to bring you all of those books in one go. I don't necessarily have to read all of them in this month, but it would be great for me if I could, because it would help me get to my 60%. Because if you did catch my book haul video that I posted quite recently, you will know that I am up to 37% of the books that I have read from the books that I have bought in 2024. I don't know why I put it that way. You know what I mean? And I know that that is over halfway, but that is also just not where I wanted to be at this point in the year. Then the final book that I absolutely have to read this month before I can go on and pick other fun things for myself is Mad Ship by Robin Hobb. This is the second book in the Live Ship Traders series. It is of course for the Fits Along, which I am hosting, which is a complete read through of all of the Realm of the Elderlings books. I'm not going to go at the whole thing again, but I will just say you still have time to catch up. So the next book that I would quite like to pick up in October is Graveyard Shift by M.L. Rio. This is also winging its way to me right now, and the sooner it's in my sticky little hands, the better. Oh, can I have the back of my seat back now? That's nice. I've been waiting a really long time for M.L. Rio to bring out another book, and to say that I am buzzing for this one would be an understatement. This is another one that was on my most anticipated for the end of the year list. It is about a group of people who all take the same public path through a graveyard every night, so they pass each other frequently but only know each other to kind of nod at, and then one night a very strange occurrence in an empty grave makes them all pause at the same time, and they all get wrapped up in a very scary plot to try and find out exactly what is happening. And honestly, from that tiny little brief, I was absolutely sold. And the last book that I am absolutely desperate to get to in October, and I want to squeeze in if at all I possibly can, is The City in Glass by Niveau. This one was very sweetly sent to me by Tor, and oh, the first page, the writing on the first page, guys. And this one is definitely one of the tropes that I have neglected so much this year, which is place as character. It's one of the things that I love the most, when a building or a city has its own vibe and it almost ends up being a character along with the people who are running around in it. I think that's why Floating Hotel appealed so much to me, that I ended up picking up despite the fact that it was labelled as cozy vibe. So I am hoping that this one does everything that I want it to do. This is about Vitrine. She has been around the city of Azrael for ever. She has become the thing that stewards it through the centuries. She loves the city, she loves how it changes, she loves the people in it. But Vitrine is a demon, and one day angels come to the city and the city falls and is left in complete ruins. The blurb then says, Vitrine is left with nothing but memories and a book containing the names of those she has lost, and an angel now bound to her by mad, grief-stricken curse to haunt the city he burned. I am not usually like an angel devil destined to be together struggling books person, so this one is also a little bit of a departure outside of my comfort zone. I'm super excited for it. It's absolutely beautiful and it's actually really short. How many pages is it? It's 215 pages. So yes, consider my whole body to be ready for this. Now, like I said, there are other books that have fallen off of TBRs for previous months that I would also like to pick up, and I'm hoping that I'm getting my reading mojo back. I really struggled during last month, obviously, but my reading is just at such a good, healthy pace right now that I don't want to ruin it. I don't want the dip to make me slip back into old habits where I'm just watching endless TV shows in the background instead of reading, which is fine sometimes. Like, I do advocate if you are in a slump, sometimes just putting reading down and walking away from it will bring you back to it. But in general, I would like to, you know, actually read the books that I buy, and for my 60% goal it would be nice if I read some of those books this year. So yeah, if it sounds like I'm panicking a little bit, it's because I'm panicking a little bit. So with that, if you have made it all the way through this video, then leave me some autumn leaves down in the comments, because the weather has definitely turned. I may be wearing a t-shirt, but I am sitting on a cardigan that I'm about to put back on. It may be full of cat hair, but we need it now in Scotland. And of course, if you would like to get £100 in free UK shipping from the Serious Lights range from Serious Readers, use my code here on screen and my link down in the description box below to get your hands on that. Please tell me if you are taking part in the Spookopoly-thon. Have you already rolled your first book? What is it? And as always, please do tell me if you have read any of the books that I've talked about here today and whether you like them or whether you really don't like them, because what? Opinions live here. If you are new to my channel and you would like to watch the mad scrabble towards 60% that's about to happen in the last 3 months of this year, then hit that subscribe button. And if you are a returning subscriber, then please hit that thumbs up for the moral support, and also it really does help my channel. And I will speak to all of you really soon. Bye!